Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. We are back. There's been a lot of transfer news since Saturday. We need to catch up on a lot of them. So we're going to talk about part one in this one and then part two in a different video tomorrow. But a lot of news to get into. I didn't even get to talk about Zubimendi and the Here We Go that we got on Saturday. But yeah, let's get straight into it and let's see where we are after this. So this was Fabrizio's post from Saturday. Arsenal agreed deal to sign Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad. Here we go. Zubimendi has now verbally agreed to sign a long-term deal, so formal steps must follow soon with Arsenal to trigger 60 million euro clause. Zubi ready to become the first signing of this season. So looks like our first signing is going to be Martin Zubimendi. I mean, we were already told back in around February by Sami Mokbel and then David Ornstein that this deal is pretty much done, and they are very spot on with it. So there's a bit of rumors starting to emerge that he might go to Real Madrid, but no, David Ornstein said this deal is pretty much done. If anything goes down, I'll be very surprised. So they were right. So Martin Zubimendi, the midfielder, is going to be our first signing, another signing from Real Sociedad, and it's going to be around 50 million pounds, 60 million euros. Now, does that mean, I'd imagine if you're signing a player for 50 million pounds, I'd imagine he's going to be a starter next season. Now, Jorginho is already leaving, but we still have Partey, Merino, and Rice, who are all midfielders. Now, we know Rice is playing as a number 8. There's two ways you could approach it. You could have had Rice playing as a number 6, and then we buy another number 8, or have Rice playing as a number 6 and then move Odegaard to the 8 position and then buy a number 10. Those two could have been options. But we decided to go with a new midfielder, and then I'm imagining Rice will stay as a number 8 for Arsenal next season, and Zubimendi will be starting. So does that mean Partey is going to be on the bench next season, or is he going to leave? So with Zubimendi coming in, I don't think Partey will be starting games for us next season unless we use a different formation in some games, maybe have two holding midfielders at the same time, depending on the game. I don't know. But Zubimendi signing for Arsenal, it means one of those two things. Either Partey is going to be a bench player next season, or he's going to be sold. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with us having a strong bench, rotating Zubimendi and Partey, rotating a new left wing with Martinelli and Trossard. I don't have a problem with that personally. I think we need enough players. I don't think we have enough players. This thing about using 16, 17 players and playing Partey in a Carabao Cup match, which we are 3-0 ahead, and bringing on Timber when you're 4-0 up against Preston and such, we don't need to be doing that. So we need enough players. So if Zubimendi and Partey are both at Arsenal at the same time, well and good. Merino as well. Will Merino be moving back to midfield? That is something to look forward to as well, or wait and see what is going to happen with that. But Zubimendi is going to be our first signing of the transfer window. Let's see how it goes. It's a player that Arteta's really wanted for a long time, so let's see. The second piece of news is still on Zubimendi, but this is what fans of Arsenal had to say. Real Madrid checked with Martin Zubimendi's agency on 3 separate occasions regarding his availability. However, they were told he had given his word to Mikel and Arsenal. So we finally, I guess we finally got our man, because we've been linked to him for like 3 transfer windows now. There's some point where it looked like he was going to go to Liverpool instead. At some point, it looked like he was going to go to Real Madrid instead. Since we signed Declan Rice from West Ham when all those other teams wanted him, I've always had a bit of confidence in the transfer window, because 4 years ago, if you had a player who wanted by Man City and Arsenal, you'd just be like, he's going to choose Man City. If a player was wanted by Arsenal and Real Madrid, you'd just be like, yeah, he's going to choose Real Madrid. But from what we've seen over the last couple of transfer windows, Raya being wanted by Bayern Munich and choosing Arsenal, and Rice being wanted by Man City and choosing Arsenal, and Havertz being wanted by, I think it was Real Madrid and Bayern and ending up at Arsenal, and now Zubimendi, he was linked to Liverpool and Real Madrid and is ending up at Arsenal. That gives you some confidence that even if Real Madrid and Barcelona and Bayern Munich want a player, the player can still choose Arsenal. That is a great thing to have heading into the transfer window, because the players that we want are going to be linked by a lot of teams. So Zubimendi, first Arsenal signing of the transfer window. Mikel is keen to get transfers completed earlier than usual this summer, with the window split in 2 due to the Club World Cup. I still find this a bit crazy, because the first part of that transfer window is going to be like 10 days. I don't know if players are going to be signed within 10 days. There's hope that while Man City and Chelsea are competing in America, the Gunners can get a head start. So Again, yes, we might be linked to the same players. We could, but for us, we're not in the Club World Cup, so we have enough time. I'm actually very happy that there's no Euros this summer or an African Cup of Nations or World Cup, Olympics, all that. So the players that we're linked to, we can get, because last summer transfer window, we wanted Calafiori and Merino, and we were told these players are the Euros. We have to wait for 2 months, blah, blah, blah. It was too much waiting. So this time there's no excuses of we are waiting for this player to finish, the World Cup first before they join us. No, this time round, we're not in the Club World Cup, and these players are going to be free. So no, not free in terms of money, but they don't have any other commitments during the summer, so we can get the players done, get the talks done very, very quickly. So hopefully we can get the transfers done. The 2023 season, we got them done early. Zinchenko, Jesus, Fabio Vieira, and all those guys. Hopefully we can do it quick as well, because man, this thing about wanting Calafiori June 1st and then we end up getting him at the end of July, that's crazy. Next up, Graham Bailey says Andrea Berta is busy on incomings. There's no disputing that a new number 9 is where most of his time is being spent. It is seemingly looking more and more likely to be Viktor Yakarez or Benjamin Sesko, but that still isn't certain. Berta is also working hard on new deals for his own players. One of their main objectives this summer, as well as Zubimendi, was getting new deals done for William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, and Gabriel Magalhaes. Talks have taken place with all 3 camps. You see this sentence, Berta is also working hard on new deals for his own players. It sounds like Berta is bringing his own players from home. It really does sound like that, but no, I get what they mean. His own players, the players that he feels like would work for us, but I'm still guessing there's obviously communication with Arteta and the rest of the coaching team. But yes, getting Saliba, Saka, and Gabriel new deals, that is very essential. Zubimendi is now done, but the striker signings, that's one. The 2 places where areas we've really struggled is actually 3. One of them is getting deals done quicker. Now, number 2 is getting 4 deals done. And number 3 is selling our players. We struggle in those 3 camps. So hopefully Andrea Berta does help us in all of that, because those are 3 areas we struggled. Next up, let's talk about Trossard. Arsenal have opened contract talks with Leandro Trossard of a new deal running until 2029. The winger's high levels of fitness was a contributing factor to the deal length, which would see him at the club until 34. 4-year contract. What? There's talk about Trossard getting a 4-year contract. That would be crazy. Now, for me, I said I would personally keep Trossard and Martinelli for sure. No, it doesn't have to be as starters, but as backup players, because we don't have enough players on the bench. And then the whole season, especially that game against PSG, you look at our bench and there's like 4 defenders, and there's 2 players who've just recovered from injuries, and then there's 2 goalkeepers, and then there's like 3 youngsters on the bench. That's not a good enough bench to be competing for those trophies. You need players that can come on. Now, let's say next season we sign players and you look at the bench for one game and you see Martinelli is there, Juan Garcia is there, let's say Calafiori is there, Ben White is there, let's say Joel Hato is there, Havertz is on the bench, Partey is on the bench, and then maybe in that specific game, Odegaard and maybe Rice on the bench, and then you look at the starting lineup, Gyokeres is there, a new left winger is there, Saka is still there, Zubimendi is there, Merino is starting that particular game. Then, when you need changes, you can do something, but the way we've had our team this one and last season, we just don't have a bench to change anything. Even if we want to, some situations where you're trailing, you're meant to take out the defensive midfielder, maybe Partey and bring in a striker, or you take out one defender and you bring in a striker. But I can't do that because we don't have anyone. So if you have players like this in the team to bring on, personally for me, I don't mind it. So Trossard, for me, I don't mind keeping him for 1 season, but 4-year deal would be absolutely crazy. I mean, they're saying his fitness levels are high, which I agree with. He rarely gets injured. Touch wood, because every time you say that about a player, they get injured. I think this is literally every single Arsenal player has picked up an injury apart from him and Partey. So that's a good thing. If fitness is not a problem, we do need players who can stay fit. Leandro Trossard would be 34 by the time the new deal would expire. It's understood that his high levels of fitness in terms of longevity was a contributing factor to a lengthy proposed deal from Arsenal, which is not the norm for players aged over 30. So let's see how the Trossard deal goes. Next up, Nico Williams, a player who might replace Trossard and Martinelli as a starter in our left wing. According to Eisen Khan, Nico Williams is Arsenal's top right this summer, and the club see him as an ideal player to compete with Gabriel Martinelli. If a move becomes impossible, Rafael Leao and Jamie Gittins are on the Gunners shortly. So this is the first time I've had Leao being mentioned as a potential target from AC Milan. Gittins, we heard about him from Dortmund like a week ago. But I think we're going to have a new winger. But again, I repeat what I said in the last video. Personally, for me, striker, I want Gyokeres. But for winger, I'm open for anyone. Whether it's Lookman, whether it's Nico Williams, whether it's Rodrigo, whoever you're going to get, I'm happy. Even players like Mbeumo from Brentford, I'm happy to have players like that. But doesn't have to be specific player. Even Leao, I'd be happy. Just need an explosive winger. We don't have explosive wingers. You know, like the way Hazard was for Chelsea or the way Salah is for Liverpool, someone who can get you 15 goals and 10 assists in a season, something like that. I don't think we have a winger who can do that. Martinelli did it for one season, but the last 2 seasons, he hasn't gotten to those levels at all. So let's see, Nico Williams. This is another player we've been linked to for like 3 transfer windows in a row. Yakarez, next up on Yakarez, Arsenal have submitted the first official offer for Viktor Yakarez. The value is £63 million. So I said my number one target would be Viktor Yakarez, my number one signing. I asked Robbie the other day the same, and he told me Yakarez would be his first signing as well. So I think a few people, I still think some people want Isak ahead of Yakarez. For me, I'm happy with Yakarez. The price and the explosiveness and the numbers. I need a player who's put up numbers, in the last 3-4 seasons, and he has done that, Viktor Yakarez. And for £63 million, that number keeps on changing from 60 to 61 to 50 to 63. It's somewhere between 50 and 65. I still think that is a bargain to get a player like this, as long as it's not jumping to like 90. I mean, personally, for me, last season, I was happy for us to pay that £85 million for him. So telling me 60, 63, I'm like, yeah, for sure, we need to get this kind of player. So this would be the first signing for me. I think Gyokeres would be incredible. The number of chances we create, like against Liverpool over the weekend, Liverpool are 2-0 up, and we are the ones who are supposed to be 2-0 up because we had a couple of chances that we didn't score again. And there's been so many games this season. Monaco at home could have been 7-0 if we had a striker there. If you look at West Ham at home, you'd never have lost that game if you had a striker. It's just a lot of examples. But that's the latest on Yakarez. We'll talk more about him tomorrow because I've seen there's more news on him. Isak. ZRFC says, I don't think Isak is realistic for us or anybody else. Let's see if Newcastle finish in the UCL. I think they will. Even if they don't, he's available for sale. It would be a huge price. I don't think that's realistic. Sesko is on the mix, but Arsenal have reservations. This is according to David Ornstein. I agree. I don't think getting Isak is realistic. Personally, for me, if I was him, I wouldn't even leave Newcastle, because if in the Champions League you've won a trophy, why not try again? Next season in Newcastle, maybe try and win something else next season. Why not? So have another extra year, because teams are still going to look for Isak next season. It's not like by next season Isak is not going to be wanted by a team. No. They usually say sometimes you can leave your team and you leave them on a high so that you live on a good terms. But I think for him, he kind of needs to stay there for a year. And again, 150 million with Yakarez being 63. When you sign Yakarez for 63, you can potentially use that extra money to get Nico Williams, for example. I would go for Yakarez. Let's go to the goalkeepers. According to reports from The Sun, which is not the best source, Brighton goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen is a shock target for Real Madrid as they look for a long-term successor to Thibaut Courtois. Real Madrid have also considered David Raya, but the deal would be even harder to pull off than Verbruggen. Now, you see, David Raya, he's in my top 3 Arsenal players this season. I think he's been that good. Yes, the last month, there's been a few mistakes here and there from Saliba and Raya and all those guys. I kind of think Raya's gotten bored in goal. The saves he's made this season have been incredible. There's so many games where he saved us, and even recently saved a penalty in the Champions League against PSG, and he also saved 2 gilt-edged chances for Liverpool over the weekend. Liverpool could have been 3-0 up. I think it was supposed like that. literally saved right in front of him. Absolutely fantastic. And even the penalty, if you had forward players, that penalty save counts, and you go the other side and you score 2 goals, and you thank Raya for saving the penalty. So David Raya, for me, not for sale. I don't want us to be in another position where you're changing a goalkeeper again right now. No, I see Raya as our goalkeeper for the next 3-4 years at least. So, and the only thing that I need us to stop or do less of, I don't think it's his fault. I don't know if it's the goalkeeper coach asking him to play like that. But yeah, the Raya coming to midfield every single time, and then we lose the ball, and then the other team loops the goalkeeper, and then we concede. We do that a lot. There's been a lot of chances dropping to opponents because of Raya being out of his goal. Let's reduce it. He's a good pass of the ball. He can pick out a pass from his box. So let's have him in his box. Sometimes he can come out, no problem, but not 20 times in the game. But for me, Raya definitely stays, is not for sale. Lastly, on Kiwior, Olympique Marseille considering a move for Jakub Kiwior. I guess Olympique Marseille have seen Jakub Kiwior's performances since Gabriel got injured. Big shout out to Jakub Kiwior, because many people were devastated when Gabriel got injured. Everyone was devastated when Gabriel got injured. And many people are like, we are done for, because with Kiwior there, not Gabriel, we are finished. But actually, the last 1 month that Gabriel has been out for, Kiwior has been one of our better players in the team, and he's chipped in even with goals in the other end, with headers, chances. He's not as good as Gabriel in attacking the ball, but he's done his job. And defensively, 3-4 mistakes out of all the games he's played over the last 2 months. I think that is good enough, and not many of them have led to us conceding a goal. So Marseille want him, but for me, I would keep Kiwior even before Kiwior started playing for us after Gabriel got injured. I've always said it's tough to get a player like that we had a lot of bad defenders at Arsenal for like 10 years. You'd have someone like Vermaelen getting injured, and then the person coming from the bench are like, oh no, this is problematic. But Kiwior's come on last season, is covered at left back. This season and he also covered at right centre back last season or the previous season after Saliba got injured and Holding was not performing. And this season he's covered for Gabriel. Kiwior, for me, I would keep him so that we don't have to again look for too many defensive signings. Keep him for sure. So unless they come with 40 million for him, but no, I prefer to keep him. So that's the latest. That's the part 1 of the transfer news that we haven't talked about since over the weekend. But tomorrow we're going to have part 2. You're going to talk about more Yakarez. I've seen there's news and Rodrigo. It's going to be a busy transfer window. I cannot wait for it. It's going to be a busy one, and excited because we have Andrea, Berta expecting more signings. So let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.